Business Mathematics 1, Linear Algebra. Unit 2, Exercise 30. An investor decides to invest quantities X, Y and Z in three different sectors respectively. With those quantities, his gain is G of X, Y and Z equals X squared plus 2Y squared minus 2XZ plus 1 over 2Z squared. A. Is his gain always positive? B. In view of the previous situation, the investor decides to make adjustments so that the quantities invested in the second and third sectors are equal. Is this the right decision? To solve it, we must know how to. Firstly, identify a quadratic form, which can be found in the definition 24 of the tutorial given by the teacher. 2. We must understand the meaning of a quadratic form sign, which can be found in definition number 30. We must be able to study a quadratic form sign, properties 32 and 35. Study the sign of a quadratic form restricted to a vector subspace, which can be found in the method number 39. Now, let's solve it. We must get the matrix of the quadratic form of the equation g of x, y and z, which is x squared plus 2y squared minus 2xz plus 1 over 2z squared. To get this matrix, we must substitute the values as can be seen in this video. The minus 2 of the x times z must be divided by 2 and allocated in the position stated. We must use the first minus method to study the sign of the matrix. By doing the calculations, A1, which is the smallest minor, equals 1, which is smaller than 0. By doing the determinant of the second minor, we have that A2 equals 2, which is also greater than 0. And by doing the determinant of the matrix in R3, we have that A3 equals 1 minus 2, which is minus 1, which is smaller than 0. So, by what we have calculated, A is indefinite, meaning that the sign of the matrix is sometimes positive and sometimes negative. This matrix has also been given the name of G. As I said before, that G is indefinite means that it takes positive and negative values. So, the answer to the first question of is his gain always positive, the answer is no, the gain is sometimes positive and sometimes negative. To calculate section B, which asks if in the previous situation the investor decides to make adjustments so that the quantities invested in the second and third sectors are equal, the question given is this the right decision? By clearing the variables, we get that y equals z. So now we can replace y in g. So the lowercase g of x and z equals x squared plus 2z squared minus 2xz plus 1 over 2z squared equals x squared plus 3 over 2z squared minus 2xz. So the matrix of the smaller g is lowercase a, which can also be seen in the video. Now by doing the same as before and using the minors method, we get that the first minor is 1, which is larger than 0. And by doing the determinant of the second minor, which is b2, we have that 3 over 2 minus 1 is 1/2, which is greater than 0. What we can see is there was an error in the calculation, so what in the video is 3 over 2 is actually 5 over 2. With this minus method, we can see that B is definite, is positive definite. So G is obviously positive definite, which means that the larger G is also positive definite when Y equals Z. So the answer to question B is yes, it's a right decision. And why is it a right decision? Because the gain is always positive. When the second and third sectors are equal. To summarize, 1. We use the matrix of a quadratic form to study its sign when there are no restrictions. 2. When there are any restrictions, we clear as many variables as possible and replace them in the original quadratic form. Then we study the sign of the reduced quadratic form.